I'm Chalky, and I am the everything behind Nuclearsaurus Rex, a crossover band or project from Brisbane, Australia.
Beautiful, Chalky. Thanks for joining us today.
No worries, it's good to be here.
Pleasure to have you, bro. So, as you say, your solo thrash crossover project, Necrosaurus Rex, will release your second EP, Operation Party Destroy, this Friday, November 15th. So, how you feel about it?
Oh, freaking stoked, man! It's good to finally have another release out on this little project that I've been working on. And like I said before, I started it in 2021 as like a little bit of a fun little let loose and let a bit of steam off sort of project. And I was just like, all right, I'll do it all purely on my own self. So I write all the riffs, I record everything, all the drums, the vocals, everything. But yeah, it was more like an excuse to just sort of let some steam off and just have a bit of fun with it. But then yeah, I did uni for a couple of years, and then this year I sort of came back and went, I want to do a follow up, and I thought I'd go a little bit more ham on this one and try and go and get a bit more out there and make up a crazy story about dinosaurs partying and all that sort of thing, and see where I can go with it.
Well, we'll get into the storyline a little bit later, but the press release calls the album Crossover Thrash, but there's a lot more going on than just that. Like, how would you describe Operation Party Destroy musically?
Yeah, it's got a bit of crossover, bit of little bit of punk, a little bit of thrash, probably more thrash this one, especially because the last song's like 7 minutes long, which is most crossover songs are like 1, 2, 3 minutes long with that. So yeah, the average song being like 4 minutes on this one's probably pushing it for crossover. But it's pretty funny that yeah, there's like a 7 minute song on there, but I cut it up into like four sections, so it's still kind of like four different songs that sort of merge together into one. But at the end of the day, I guess yeah, the one track is 7 minutes, so it's a bit out there for crossover. But there's a tiny bit of like death metal throughout as well. Like got a few blast beats in there, and it's all in standard, so it's not like heavy, but it's like heavy in terms of standard tuning concerns, I guess. But yeah, it's a little bit of everything. But at the end of the day, if I had to barrel it down, probably just yeah, crossover slash thrash. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And how does it differ to your 2021 debut, Pegasus Ezekial?
Pegasus Ezekial. So yeah, that's the name of the Nuclearsaurus Rex mascot, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Just some stupid name I came up with. But yeah, I think this one's obviously a lot different because it's a concept EP, so it has like a story behind it, whereas the first release was more like just a bunch of songs I randomly put together. I recorded all those and like I recorded the drums all in like one sitting where I just like sat down and just bashed through like a few quick drum tracks and then just wrote riffs over them. And this time around, I actually sat down and actually wrote the riffs together and like actually constructed the songs properly. So it wasn't just random drum tracks and whatnot. But yeah, I think this one definitely, I know that my vocals were definitely the one I was trying to work on the most because I feel like I've got my guitaring and bass and drums all down pretty pat with like writing thrash stuff. But the one thing I wanted to work on this time was my lyrics and my vocals especially. And I think I think there was one song, I'm pretty sure it was the last one, um, the Volatile Radioactive. I think I spent at least 4 to 5 different sessions on just trying to like, I'd go through, do like one chunk, come back, do another chunk, and then I'd just go through bit by bit. But then yeah, if I heard something that was a bit off, I'd just go back and redo it again. And I really pushed myself vocally this time. And I think it's probably the best vocals I've put out. So I'm pretty happy with it.
But I think it's important to point out too before we go any further that it's there's a lighter side to the album. Like it's a lot of fun too. Like I hate comparing bands to other bands, but along the lines of Brisbane's fuck, like it's sort of tongue in cheek, slapstick, have fun. It's still the music's still metal as fuck, but it's
Yeah.
also fun as well.
Yeah, definitely. I love Fuck. Those guys are so great. Tony and Dan are awesome, and like I've seen them over the years live, and they're just so fun. And I think one thing I want to do with this band, and I probably jump ahead of myself, but I actually do want to make like I am bringing this to the stage next year as a proper band. And one thing that I've been noticing lately with like I don't want to say like a local scene, but just a lot of bands in general. And it's not a bad thing. Like don't get me wrong, I love watching bands that are like really talented and do what they do, and but a lot of them just like, because for me, I love like going to shows and watching a band that's running around and just jumping around and stuff. And there was a band back in Brisbane back in the 2010s called Malachite, especially, that had this guy Laggy on guitar. He would just run around and just constantly just, it was so fun to watch. Like every show you'd just go and and you're watching like an experience almost. Like it was like they were putting on something. They were just energy and all this sort of thing. And I just feel like lately it's just been really lackluster, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like not all the bands are like they're not boring to watch. It's just that for me personally, I just love watching energy on stage, and when people are running around and shit, I really wanted to bring that into a band, and I want to bring that to the stage. So yeah, I definitely get a lot of inspiration for Fuck, especially because they're really fun to watch and they have that sort of thing going.
Now, most people know you as a drummer. You've drummed around for fucking years, mate, and you're very well respected for that craft. But you've actually done everything with Nuclearsaurus Rex. You've written, you've recorded, you've played guitar, bass, drums, sung. Like it's pretty daunting process, mate.
Yeah, it's a lot to take on. Yeah, I think with this, like, I still love playing drums. I still consider myself a drummer, and I don't really consider myself a guitarist or bassist. I more use them as like writing tools. I've been playing guitar probably just as long as I have drums, but I'm like, I don't have like any amps. I don't have any crazy guitars. The guitar I've got is still the same guitar I bought like 15 years ago for $200. It's like some cheap like Fender ripoff thing. And funny enough, there's a kid in the scene, Jacob, who fucking found that like brand guitar. And I don't know if he bought it or something, but he found it for sale. And it just like blew me away that that brand guitar was floating around somewhere. It's called Kane. It's like this. I don't even know if you could find it anymore, but if anyone's got one or knows where anything is, I'd love to know if there's any out there because honestly, I just bought this thing so cheap. And for some reason, there's something about this guitar that just I can't let go of it. Like I want to upgrade, but I've written everything on this guitar, and I feel like if I stop and go to another guitar, it's just going to change my whole process. So I've stuck with that. But yeah, I am more of a drummer. I always consider myself more of a drummer. But I think I'm just taking a bit of a break from drums for the bit, and I want to try and do some vocals on stage and see just try something different. I'm always trying to take risks, and I think this is a kind of a risk, but I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it, and the lineup I've got is pretty cool. So I'm really looking forward to announcing that soon.
Very good, mate. Now, originally when you put this together, like you know enough people to be able to put together probably a shit hot band to do this, but you chose to do it for yourself. Like, was it sort of like was it to test yourself? Was it for convenience? Was it so your vision got reproduced fully? Like, was there a specific reason why you went down that path?
I just I always love writing. Like I just love writing music, and I've always tried to write songs for like the bands I've been in the past, and I only get like a riff in or something here and there. But I've always been writing probably since I want to say I was like nearly 20 years since I started playing drums. Like the reason I picked up guitar was to be like I want to write songs, and so I've been writing for like nearly 20 years, and I just can't stop it. And I've got like two to three different projects that I like dig into that are like, I've got Chalky Mate that's a bit more of a like pop friendly sort of bit weird on the like rock sort of side thing, but still like some thrash in there. But then you got Military that's like full heavy like thrash, like really heavy. But this is like that middle ground where I can sort of have fun with it. And I think yeah, I don't know. I love working for myself. I've always gotten shit done when I work on my own. I don't know. Like I feel like I just had a cool idea and I just think I wanted to get it out there and have fun with it. So yeah, I like to take risks as well. So, see what happens, like if I bring it to stage and it gets a bit of a hype from it, then that'd be fucking awesome. So
Damn
see what we can do with it.
You touched on this briefly before, mate, but there is a sort of a conceptual theme to Operation Party Destroy. Like basically it centers around Nucleosaurus Rex's birthday party, but it's not your normal birthday with cakes and lollies and games, is it?
No. It's set in like the mid 1980s. Because I have a bit of a thing for the 80s and all that sort of thing. Thrash's big heyday was in the 80s, so it's sort of like I was just like I'm always trying to think of ways to like sort of tap into that sort of time frame. And I was like, oh, what if we just have like, Nucleosaurus Rex and his nuclear dinosaur friends have a party in the mid 80s and just go all out with like, your simple like references to like Coke and drugs and all that sort of thing. And the more I manifest this idea, I was starting to think of like the stupid names that I could put with all these different dinosaurs that had like nuclear terms to them, because nuclear is like a big subject matter in like thrash, especially crossover and stuff like municipal waste and stuff. So I just sort of put the best of two together and was like, let's just have fun with it. And yeah, so I just started battling the idea of like dinosaur names, and then it just turned into like, oh, why don't we just put together like a birthday party for Nuclearsaurus Rex, and he just invites all his friends over, and they've all got like different powers. I guess I can go through all of them once we get to that question, but yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really, at the end of the day.
Now, speaking of that question, mate, like there's only 4 tracks on the album, on the EP. So run through them one at a time and tell us a bit more about them musically and where they fit into the storyline. Now, you've given me a hard task here to pronounce them all, mate, but I'll do my best. So the first one is Brachioplutonium.
Yes, Brachioplutonium. Yeah, yeah. So it's Barry the Brachioplutonium who has like a rather long neck, obviously being a Brachiosaurus. And so Nuclearsaurus decided, oh, let's have you like have a stripper like pole dancing on your neck. And it turns out though that Barry has a allergic reaction to this stripper's like perfume, and he has an unfortunate sneezing problem where he expels like toxic snot out of his nose that like can burn people alive like through acid. So he has this misfortune of doing that at the party and burns all these people. And so throughout the track, you can hear like, I think it's in the bridge and the breakdown, you hear like all these people like, being burned alive and stuff. And Nuclearsaurus Rex like, it's all right, mate, just keep going, it's only just getting started. But yeah, no, I thought it was a really cool way to sort of open the EP up. It sort of sends a message out there, and like as the songs go through, it sort of hints to the fact that yes, there is a dinosaur that is not so liked by the community, and he eventually figures out where this party is and comes and invade it. So I just sort of wrote lyrics, and they all just sort of joined up. And
That'll do. Yeah. Now the second song's called Pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl, yep. So that's pterodactyl is a pterodactyl that has like the ability to like shower neon like rain and like can make aurora borealis in the sky and stuff. And so she does that, and of course, being so lit up in the sky and everything at midnight in LA, it's just set this huge like signal of like this is where this party is, and then Velociradioactive, who's the evil Velociraptor, is like, oh, now I know where the party is. So he goes off and figures out where it is and how to gate crash it. So yeah, that's that track, and that one's a bit of a shorter one actually, that one, but it was one of those songs where I just like got to like it was like a pump riff out after riff, and then like I got to the end and I was like, I don't need to write anymore. That's it. That's done. So that's why that song's a lot shorter than the other ones. But I thought it was like short and sweet, so it was good.
Nice. The third one's Triceratoxic.
Yes. So a three-headed Triceratops. Tim, Tom, Ted is the names of the heads, and all of them have different powers, but one of them in particular that is pointed out a lot is Ted, who's like a medic, and his job is to like watch people and make sure they don't overdose, and he can like heal you with his nuclear saliva if you overdose. But the other two are just sort of like they got their own little powers, but they're not really mentioned. But basically, it just introduced that dinosaur, and then yeah, Velociradioactive starts making his way into the party, and Nuclearsaurus Rex is like, all right, we've got to fucking man the gate and get ready because the attack's about to happen. And before we get to that, we have a bit of a guest vocal by Peck, a good mate of mine who does this like guttural thing at the end, and then he found a sample from some like I think it was one of those like reaction channel things where it was like these I think it was like nurses or dentists or something like reacting to metal videos, and it was like Slaughter to Prevail, and then this lady's just like, it sounds like a dinosaur, like a really angry dinosaur, and I was like, that's so perfect to put at the end of that song. So that's where that came from.
Nice. Then, as you said before, you got Veloci
Radioactive.
Radioactive.
Yeah.
So I knew you'd get me on one of them. That closed it out.
But yeah, that's the big finale, the big final track, the 7-minute Slaughter Fest. Yeah, it's broken up into like 4 sections, but he's basically found the party. He's starting to attack everyone, and then I could sit here like for ages explaining what happens, but you basically just got to listen to the songs. It goes through the whole thing. But he's got these minions called Constant Atomics. It's really hard to say, but they're the compies from the Jurassic like Lost World, the second one or whatever, like the little ones. So they're like the little minions that he's got that sort of hang out with him. But I guess to wrap it up, the whole premise behind it is that Velociradioactive stole Pegasus Ezekial's jacket and like battle jacket. So yeah, he's like hated him ever since. And then he's like they have this big clash at the end, and then he Nuclearsaurus Rex's power is to like he has like when he kisses his victims, he can like he basically breathes this like smog into them that like takes all their bones and shit and eradicates them. So he basically, you know, he makes Velociradioactive into this like pile of just skin and battle jacket, and he basically wears them over his back as a reward. So yeah, that's how that ends.
A lot of shit going up in that head of yours, haven't you, brother?
Yeah, yeah. I actually came up with all three of these at like over 3 days at work. I had to work at this like car convention thing, and I literally just turned up and had to babysit the presentations, and I didn't have anything to do. So I literally sat on my phone for 3 days and wrote the entire story out, and I got paid to do it. So I was pretty stoked about that.
And are these going to be coming out as physical copies or just digital?
Yeah, man, got a CD right here. It's actually a double CD, so it's got one disc, but it's basically the first two EPs compiled into one. It's got a booklet, it's got all the lyrics. Yeah, it's really snazzy artwork, and it's available now at nuclearsaurusrex.bandcamp.com. So order it.
Good, mate. Before we go, I'll just hit up about the live. Like I know you sort of said before you can't tell us who's going to be in the live band, but I can imagine knowing you, it's going to be some hella cracker musicians. But have you got a rough time frame, like when you think you'll be out there playing live?
I'm hoping by New Year. I'm hoping by New Year. We haven't jammed yet, but I'm trying to organise that. It's been a bit crazy because we're all like sort of busy with our work and all that sort of thing. And I've been like trying to work to get this out on the floor. But we have been talking and everything, and I've been sending off like riff videos and stuff to show how the songs are played. They're not crazy hard. I just have a lot of riffs crammed into a lot of songs, so it's going to take a little while to put it all together. But I'm hoping we have a jam within the next month, and then I'd say hopefully by January we'll announce it when we're all ready to go, and we'll hopefully start gigging, March, April, May of next year. So looking forward to it because this will be so new to me. I've never been a front man, and it's going to be really weird seeing me not behind a drum kit but on stage jumping around with a mic. So
well, that wraps it up for now, bro. The EP Operation Party Destroy is out November 15th. You heard before where you can get yourself a copy from. It's a fantastic little slab of thrash goodness. I really enjoyed it, bro. So best of luck with it, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Thanks very much.